Hello, City Skylines fans. I'm Socksway Up, and welcome back to a mini series where I try to fix the first city or one of the first cities I built in City Skylines. First episode, we just added some infrastructure around the highway system or the freeway system. This one, we're gonna start changing the city up a little bit. We're gonna try to get the traffic flowing and maybe get this city back to life so it stops losing citizens and is a flourishing city once again, so I can say I like my first city. That's the plan. By no means am I an expert, but I definitely have a lot of hours in this game, and I feel like it is very doable to fix your cities that you've screwed up like I did without using a ton of mods. At the very end of this series, I do show a little bit of tricks that you could do with Traffic Manager mod, but most of it we do without mods, even though I have them enabled. I try not to. I really try not to use them. There you can see some traffic's backed up. So again, our goal for this episode is to get that traffic flow moving, get rid of some of the gridlock in this city. It's gonna be a challenge. I'm loving the challenge. It's been a blast, but here we go. We're starting this episode off with traffic flow at 9% still. You haven't really done anything to get it moving. I kind of take a peek at all the other services. Not sure why. They don't really matter at this point. Later on, if we decided to extend this series and make the city more pretty, that's when the other services would matter. So to begin things off with this one, I'll go ahead and head back over to the area where we started thinking about where we wanted more freeway exits. And we add those on ramps and off ramps, and we're gonna focus on that roundabout right there in a little bit. But to begin the episode right here we go. Again, we're not worried about this being too pretty. We just want to give people more options to get where they want to go and eliminate, the bottlenecks of all the traffic going to the same freeway exit, which is the big problem in this city. Was most of the traffic is trying to go to the same area because those areas have too many services, too many buildings, too many businesses, just too much. It was too much high density, too many. So again, we're not going pretty with these exits. We're just making them functional. We're gonna get the traffic moving here in a minute, but again, this area here had no access, so we're giving it access so they don't have to go to an exit down the road, work their way back. They can just quickly exit here. A lot of this series is going to be about giving people more options to get to more places, and that will spread out the traffic, guarantee it. So here we start looking at this roundabout, and there's a couple tricks I wanted to try first. I noticed it was a single lane, so we upgraded to 2 lanes, but then I wanted to split each section into 2, and I do that with a little trick by just adding a road there, and it adds an extra node so we can upgrade things separately. I wanted to do it 1 lane into 2 lanes, trying to get the game to force it to where there was a single right-hand turn lane instead of the second lane being right-hand and straight. That didn't work out too well. So we let that run for a little bit, but then we start moving things around. We have this soccer stadium or football stadium, and it's just, there's too much already in that area. So we move it to have its own dedicated area right here. And that new exit can service that once we have that up and running and established. Along with the stadium, we also moved the expo and some of those parking lots that we added earlier. Those are some of those custom assets that I've been using a long time ago. I don't use them anymore. I use the parking lot roads now, but I wanted to keep it true to the form of when it was created. You're gonna notice here the traffic's not moving in the roundabout yet. That trick that we tried, it didn't work because there's multiple lanes for it to exit. Tried to use some asynchronous roads. That didn't work either. Asynchronous, is that the right? That's not the right word. But we end up going and updating it to be 3 lanes, which works out a lot better. You'll see in a second. We also remove buildings. We're starting to remove buildings where they shouldn't be. A lot of the city had buildings in the roundabouts. They had buildings on the main roads, and it's just causing traffic to clutter. And here we also notice that the buses are a problem sometimes. You put buses too close to intersections, or you put buses on skinny roads that only have 1 lane, and once the bus stops, all the traffic behind it has to stop. So we're gonna work on that as well. We start looking at this mass transit as causing problems instead of fixing them, and that is a big trend that I noticed when I first started playing this game. Is I didn't know what I was doing with mass transit, and instead of helping traffic, it seemed to make it worse. But all right, you can see that roundabout is just going to take some time, and here's where we're fixing the buses. I don't I don't know what was going on with that. Here, you got to forgive me. I do use Move It to get the subway out of the way. Instead of rebuilding it, I just decided I'm moving it, upgrade the road, and then I move it back. Little trick. Sorry about that. Tried to stay vanilla as much as possible. But now we have an extra lane for the bus to stop at, and traffic can still flow right past it. The bus isn't going to be a problem anymore. Should be good to go there. One of the things to keep in mind when you're fixing your own cities like this is traffic takes time. You could, abandon all the traffic. I forget what there's a button in Traffic Manager mod where you can just, despawn every single vehicle and have it restart. I decided not to do that. I didn't want to have any despawning during this. You got to be patient with this stuff. It definitely takes time for the traffic to clear out, and sometimes the traffic gets better in a certain area and then you fix another area and it gets worse. So you're just moving the traffic around constantly when you're doing something like this. Again, if you really want to save a city, you can do some of these approaches. It'll definitely help, and that's what we're going to keep on doing here. So here we're adding a little more of the lane mathematics. It's making the entrances skinnier there. We also eliminate some of those exit lanes. All they're doing is clogging up the exits. They're not actually helping more traffic flow through because the streets that they're turning onto aren't large enough to handle that many lanes anyways, and since the traffic isn't smart enough in the vanilla game, they don't use all the lanes, so it's just a waste, so we make them smaller. But you can see this area is starting to move, traffic's starting to improve. We got a lot more work to do, and here I start removing buildings from the main roads. That's going to help traffic a ton. That's something I never do anymore when I'm building cities. I avoid zoning on the main roads as much as possible because we don't want anyone stopping. We don't want cars spawning there because they're leaving the buildings. No way, not at all. And since this was such a high dense area, I decided to play around with one-way roads that would cause the traffic to be able to flow in one direction constantly. And that'll cause those intersections to have less tension because there's only two ways that are competing for directions instead of four. That helps out a lot in high density situations. You could do it in low density as well, but I tend to do it in high density areas. Kind of mix, some downtown areas that I've been to in the United States definitely use that approach, and it's kind of where I've gotten that trick from. And right here, I made a huge mistake that I didn't notice. I did a two-way road instead of a one-way road on that freeway exit. You're gonna notice throughout these videos, I slowly catch some of these mistakes. My goodness, what was I doing? But here, I couldn't handle, I didn't want to clean up this city completely. I wanted to leave some of the original design to it where I didn't really pay much attention to the angles of the freeway, but that one was driving me nuts, so we fixed that one up. But the traffic is moving. Again, we're going to start dezoning some of these areas so that it's less dense in that area and we can get more traffic through. So that's going to be a trend you're going to notice in the next few episodes. And sometimes there's cars stuck, so I delete the car and then all of a sudden look, traffic move because that one car was stuck. Silly game. Yes, we catch our mistake there and we fixed the one-way road, but we didn't catch it on the other side of the freeway because there wasn't any traffic really showing us that was going. Later on, that does pop up and we do fix that as well. So here there is no point in having that road curve that way. It's just slowing down traffic. So we add a nice bend to the road, and that'll cause traffic to move a little bit better. Now we're just moving from exit to exit at this point, trying to get them clear, trying to get traffic moving. We're not necessarily worried about inside the city yet. Right now, we're really worried about getting traffic moving on the freeways. Later on, we do get a little bit deeper into the cities and start working on traffic in there, but this episode, most of the focus is on these exits and making sure they have everything they need to get traffic moving so that we can then get deeper into the city and fix some of those traffic flaws there. And again, I'm moving some of these big, larger buildings that demand more traffic, more people coming to them, more visitors, the touristy buildings, to a dedicated area so they're not clogging up this inner city area that already has a lot of high dense buildings. And again, some eminent domain going on. We're going to clear out this entire area. We don't need that mall. We're going to delete it. We're going to make this a main road here eventually and get traffic flowing this direction and eliminate a lot more of the gridlock. And here you can see that we're adding stop signs instead of traffic lights in some areas. That will allow the main road to keep flowing and the side streets to stop and wait for their turn. Unfortunately, it doesn't work as good as it could in the game. Those are things that I think vanilla City Skylines could just do a lot better. And for whatever reason, I noticed it was easier for me to delete buildings and then dezone it than to dezone it and let the buildings disappear. Something to do with the mods I have installed right now is just not abandoning the buildings, even though I have no abandonment disabled. I don't know what's going on with that, but I figured it out either way. But like I said, we're doing a lot of stop signs here, getting this traffic moving. That was a long main road of a large backup that we're getting moving, and it's starting to get there. You can see we did show a little quick snippet of the traffic. It's at 33% already, which is very satisfying to me that we got it that far in this episode. You can see these freeways, they're moving, they're starting to clear up. Got to get inner city here in the next episode, but this one we're gonna wrap it up here as we wait for some of this traffic to start clearing on these areas that we've improved, and I'm satisfied with the progress we've made so far. Definitely want to thank you for checking this out, and if you're enjoying it, hit that like button. I'm going to try to get these out every day until it's done, and look forward to the next one tomorrow. And again, thanks for joining. I'm Socksway Up, and I'll see you next time.